let me do a quick introduction to the Birst standard content here. So first and foremost, so Birst becomes, and I'm showing version 10 multi-tenant right now as well too. From a single sign-on standpoint that Michelle alluded to, Birst becomes part of your application toolkit. It is part of your solution, just like CloudSuite Industrial is, and other components within Infor OS as well too. So this is a single sign-on component that gives you the ability to navigate into Birst on an as-needed basis. The toolbar going across the top portion of the screen, some of the different Birst options, and we'll see a number of these in a little bit here. You can copy links directly to a particular chart. In this case, I have the income statement open. Notifications, if you want to have this publish out, we'll show that in a live example in just a second. There's also export capability, so you can take a chart or a report and export it into a variety of different formats. There are bookmark options, again, as you start developing potentially additional content, or if you just want to have direct bookmark links to existing content, you can employ those. Filtering, the data that is contained within this particular report here, you can choose how you want to analyze that information, how you might want to filter that information. As you can see, I've got a number of different data elements with regards to the income statement that I'm currently looking at that I could choose to from a filtering standpoint. And I can make those filtering selections here on the toolbar on the right, or if you look back to the upper left-hand side of this particular chart, you can also see what dynamic filters are currently in place. So we're gonna review the standard content. As Michelle said, we've got pre-built content focused in a couple of key initial areas from a financial standpoint as well from a sales standpoint. So once you select the group, then within that you have the individual levels of content, the charts and or reports associated with that. So within the financial area, we've got a number of pre-built reports that I'll introduce here as well too, as well as some charts and dashboarding capabilities. So with regards to an income statement, so I'm currently looking at one of my locations. I'm in a multi-site environment, so for anyone that's been through any demos in the past, we've got locations set up for Dallas, Los Angeles, and London, so you can identify what site you want this particular report to be focused on. And I can also identify what fiscal period. Again, these are filterable selections, so the user, as long as they have security privilege, they could make changes to those filters. And I'm also looking at this report currently in US dollars. So here's my income statement, just so you can get a sense for the format of the report. So the report is fully designed. And you can probably also notice on your end that the account number is in a hyperlink fashion. So in cases like this where there might be some drill down capabilities to drill into the next level of detail, again, Birst provides that capability. In this particular case, we can drill down into the income statement and break it down by, or in this particular case, rather, I'm drilling into account number 43210, which is my cost of goods sold material. And in addition to giving me just the account level detail, now it gives me the breakout by unit code or combination of unit codes as well too. So again, you have that ability with the standard content to drill into information. In this particular case, drilling into your cost of goods sold and material, all the other filters are still being applied. So you're still looking at the same site, the same accounting period and so forth. But it gives me the ability to drill down into a unit code analysis. And as we'll see in a second from a trial balance standpoint, the trial balance also provides similar drill down capabilities where you can start at a higher level and then drill down to in this particular case, to the unit code level. So here's my trial balance. Again, it's following the filters that I had already set, so you don't have to reapply those every time that you move from chart to chart. And again, now I can see what my trial balance is currently looking like in my Dallas site as of the accounting period that I selected. And again, the account numbers, I won't go through all of the drill downs, but the account number is a hyperlink that again would give your users the ability to drill into additional detailed information, in this particular case, showing the breakout by unit code combination. Just to kind of show some examples of the other reports as well too. So here is the balance sheet. And again, we'll talk a little bit about the Birst design capability, so you get this right out of the box. But you can, obviously, if you need to, make some changes to the format of the report as well, too. So the balance sheet is also part of the standard content, the standard delivered content in the version 10 cloud environment. To introduce the cash flow statement. So again, as of this particular accounting period, what were my previous period balances, current period, and then I can also see what my year-to-date values are. Again, based on the filters that you have selected, And again, you can make changes to those filterable options as well too. But this is a very nice summary report by account number to show you what your opening balance was, your finishing balance, as well as year-to-date information. And then you can also do some comparative analyses as well too. So from an income statement, again, maybe looking at the Dallas site, how do you want to compare what do you want to compare your actuals towards? So in this particular case, if you're familiar with the budgeting capabilities within CloudSuite Industrial, you have the opportunity to set both budgets as well as planned amounts. So within Birst, you can identify how do you want your actuals, or what do you want your actuals, I should say, to be compared against. Do you want them to be compared against your budget, against your planned amounts? Again, there's some other searching and filtering capabilities available to kind of do some on-the-fly queries as well too. And again, this is looking at a particular site, time frame, and of course the standard currency that I have in this particular case in US dollars. So while the screen generates here.
Mike, one of the questions that people are asking is what other domains, what other areas do we have available in our initial wave for the Birst content? Is it more than just finance? And I answered that to some that asked, and absolutely. So there are a number of components here, operations and sales analysis, as well as these financial components.
Correct, yeah, and this is just the first wave. As you mentioned in the roadmap, Michelle, there are other waves obviously already planned with additional sections of information as well too being or on the roadmap. Okay, perfect. So the comparative income statement. So what do we want to compare the actuals towards? So in this case, I selected budget, but again, that could go against plan. And this gives you the ability to have in this case, the income statement comparing what your actual amounts are as of this particular accounting period in this particular time frame, and again in US dollars, what were my actuals as compared against the budget. Then you can see any variances both for the current period as well as year-to-date information. So from a financial standpoint, and we're going to see some other operational and sales measures as well too, but from a financial standpoint, those are some of the standard content in terms of reports that are delivered. Now, also within the financial areas that you get some dashboards as well too, and the dashboards are made up of individual charts, if you will. So this particular dashboard is a profitability analysis. So here's where a user can view information in this particular case over different time frames, as opposed to the reports that we were just looking at were as of a specific period in time. From left to right, profitability over time. What's my SG&A cost looking like? Revenue over time. Excuse me, both actual as well as side-by-side budget comparison. And then down below are two additional charts that are not in a graphical nature, but kind of in a spreadsheet format, if you will, that's showing information that's related to each other. So we've got cost of goods sold by product code. So I've got the product codes listed on the y-axis going down, and then the time buckets, the quarterly buckets going across horizontally as well too, both in terms of the cost of goods sold by product as well as revenue by product. So it kind of gives you a two-dimensional view into that information, as well as giving you the summaries for each row and column accordingly. Now with Birst, if you want, because all of these charts are kind of intertwined, you have the ability to do some drill down capabilities here as well too, just like you could on the report. So for example, if you wanted to take a look at a certain time frame, I'm just going to use my mouse button and just kind of hover over maybe a couple of quarters, drilling into the chart on the upper left, the profit over time. And now all of the charts, because they're all interrelated to each other, have now regenerated. Now they're all taking a look at the same focus, the same time frame. So we're kind of drilling into that particular time frame, and all the corresponding charts and measures are following along with that. So I can see what my SG&A cost is for the 4 quarters that I highlighted that I wanted to drill down into. What is my cost of goods sold by product? So this gives your users the ability to look at information at a high level, at a macro level, if you will, and then be able to drill down into any one of these measures as they need to identify maybe reasons for, maybe at a high level they can see some trending, and then they can drill into the details and identify what might have caused those trends, whether those trends might be favorable or unfavorable. And because this was a drill down, this is now a filter that has been applied. So if the user wanted to drill back up to the top of the chart, they could just simply close out that filter, and now they're looking at the original version of this particular chart. Again, that's the profitability analysis. And then also within the financial area, there's another dashboard that kind of takes a look at your accounts receivable and your accounts payable analysis. Again, giving you some two-dimensional information by bank code and currency as to what the bank balance is in the center portion. The right-hand side gives you some visibility into the top 10 customers by open receivables as well too. So again, the dashboards, I should say, pull charts of information together that again give you some different capabilities to not only view the information but also drill into it. Shifting gears into the sales area, and Michelle, this kind of picks up with what you were, or some of the questions that came in rather. So here's where you can get into some more, sales and operational type analyses as well too. So there's a couple of pre-built dashboards. From a sales perspective, this particular one is looking at your sales performance. So what's our sales forecast information? From a CRM perspective, what % of leads are we closing? The bottom left-hand side is taking a look at total bookings. And hopefully you can see this on your end, but as I hover my cursor over any one of the chart elements, in this particular case, these are bar charts, but it could be pie charts, line charts, and so forth. As you hover over it, you kind of get visibility into the details associated with that particular segment as well too. And you can also set up those notifications as well. So if somebody, maybe there's an individual or a group of folks that want to receive a notification of this information, so of all of the data contained, all the charts within this particular dashboard, this can go out to an individual, to a group, or an alias. You can have a personalized comment, and this could be a notification or a publish of this information, if you will, that can be sent out on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. If you're doing weekly or monthly, you can identify the day of the week or the day of the month this information is to go out, what level of details you're going to include, and what format the data is going to go out on. So these notifications can push the data out to users on a scheduled basis so that they can receive that information in a timely nature. And then there's another dashboard that, again, gets into a little more operational and displays some margin information, so sales analysis. So you can, going from left to right, what's the sales margin from a percentage standpoint over time. So you can start to see some trending. And again, you can kind of hover over the segments within the chart to see what the details are. And then gross margin by product code. So this is taking the aggregation on the upper left and breaking it down by product code so that your users can identify what margin are you realizing in a product code nature to maybe target sales of selected product codes that you're doing very well on, or maybe other product codes that maybe you're not seeing the same profitability, and maybe you can drill into, maybe identify if it's a cost-related issue or a selling-related issue, but at least this chart is kind of pulling that information together for you. Likewise, profitability over time, sales by product code, and then also visibility from a volume standpoint, the top 10 customers. And if you happen to drill into the top 10 customer list, so in this case, I'll select my top customer, Coordinated Bicycles. Again, all of the charts, because they're interrelated, all updates. So now we're looking at Coordinated Bicycles. That's also in my filter on my toolbar at the top. But now within this top customer, you can also now see the individual items that have been sold to that particular customer as well too. And again, breaking down the gross margin in the upper center portion, breaking down the gross margin for this customer by product code as well too. And again, you can go back to the original view just by undoing that particular filter as well. Now, a couple of other options that are available for you is what we refer to as dashlet options. So there's a little arrow, an action arrow within each one of the charts. So if you wanted to view this information in a different graphical format, you could do that. If you wanted to export just that one dashboard or that one chart rather, instead of all everything contained on the dashboard, you could do that, or set up a notification just for this chart, again, the top 10 customer. Or a Birst component that is called Visualizer allows you to get in and possibly do some manipulating of this information, or kind of change the format of the chart if needed as well. And obviously, this is going to be controlled by securities as well. Left-hand side kind of gives you visibility to the different data elements that are available, both from a financial standpoint, from a sales standpoint. You have what are referred to as attributes. Think of these as like fields within the application. So if you wanted to bring the ABC code perhaps into this analysis, these are different data elements that you could then bring into the chart either maybe as a side-by-side comparison or possibly another level, if you're drilling down into one of the elements. But this visualizer tool gives you the ability to do some further analysis or even changing the layout and the structure of this particular chart. So that was a quick introduction, at least to some of the standard content, again, from a sales and a financial standpoint, some of the financial report capabilities with the drill down options, certainly the opportunity to have information grouped together in a dashboard where you're containing multiple charts of information, but still providing drill down capabilities as well too.